You ready?
Whenever you're ready.
Okay.
I'm already standing to pledge allegiance.
You got a jump start.
So far ahead of us.
Yeah.
That's right.
Hey, good evening, everyone. I would like to call to order the City of Bowie regular City Council meeting of Tuesday, September the 2nd, 2025. It is currently 8:03 p.m. At this time, I would like everyone who's able to stand and join in the Pledge of Allegiance with us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, Madam City Clerk, could you affirm that we have a quorum?
Yes, Mayor, we do have a quorum for this evening's meeting. In council chambers, we have Councilmember Steff, Councilmember Rogers, Mayor Pro Tem Wolfley, Mayor Adams, Councilmember Brady, Councilmember Truesdale, and virtually via Teams, we have Councilmember Ndepumado.
Okay, thank you. All right, at this time, I would like to propose an agenda under additions, deletions, and amendments that we amend the consent agenda to remove R-74-25 from the agenda as item S.
Which one is that one?
This is the message board. The message board. The message board.
Yeah, these are
It's-
because there's some issues with
R74, which is the bidding requirements for the license plate readers, the message boards with the license plate readers.
I'll accept a motion. I just moved, it's probably second.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I've got a quick question. Are we removing it and moving it to new business or tabling it to another time?
We're tabling it for another time.
Got it, thank you.
Okay, any further discussion?
I have a question. Why are we tabling it for another time?
I'm sorry, what did she say?
She asked why we
This is Councilmember.
in Nevada.
Councilmember, we were tabling it because there's some discussion about how it's written. And so we'll need to take another look at that at a later date. Madam City Attorney, did I sum that up well?
I think so. I have not been consulted on the matter.
Okay.
I said I assume that's correct, but I've not been consulted.
Okay,
Karen's okay with that? We're okay with that.
okay, thank you. Councilman Ndebamadu?
Okay,
Did
so
that-
will it be on the next, is it going to be on the next council agenda, or like when is the later time?
Yes, next meeting.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please respond with an aye. Aye. Opposed, same favor. Hearing none, motion carries. I do not believe we have any citizen participation this evening.
No, Mayor, no one has signed up.
Okay, we have no presentations this evening.
Correct,
We have no city boards and committees this evening.
correct.
We will now move to council announcements. I would like to make an announcement and a statement, so to speak. Last Friday was the anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. And I was honored to be a part of a conference and a news conference to talk about that. As many of you know, I'm a native New Orleanian. I had family, friends who lost everything. I had family who had to relocate to this area. So I'd like to say thank you to all of those who came from New Orleans and have set roots here in the city of Bowie. We're very proud to have you, as we are all across the DMV. And I just wanted to say that we will never forget what happened. It was 20 years, but people have been so disenfranchised from that we can't forget. And we have to continue trying to rebuild. But that's about all of us. And I was teasing our emergency management a little earlier, but it's people like you who makes things so much better for the cities like we have. So thank you for that, and thank you for all for keeping in mind all the people who are continuing to suffer from Katrina. Thank you. Any other statements? Council announcement.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I would like to just send a shout out to, all the beautiful and wonderful people in the city of Bowie and particularly District 3, and wish everyone, all of our young adults, all of our young people, a blessed back to school season, and just past Labor Day, just want to kind of just send my sincere thank yous to our public safety committee, our police department, for just being engageable as well as being present throughout this weekend. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any other council announcements? Hearing none, we will move on to the city manager's report.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, and greetings from Virginia Beach. I have no announcements right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, city manager. At this time, I will entertain a motion for the consent agenda
I have a question.
regarding,
The city manager's report. I just have a quick question to the city manager in his report.
okay, go right ahead.
I just couldn't get you in time. No, I just wanted to ask and make sure we've gone back to normal trash pickup times effective with Labor Day. Is that true?
It will be next Monday, Councilman.
Starting next Monday?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so it's on for this week and then we go back to the normal times? Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. As I was saying, I will entertain a motion for the consent agenda amended to remove R 7425 item S.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move for approval of consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please respond with an aye. 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 Opposed, same favor. Hearing none, motion carries. We will now move on to the old business, and that is the adoption of Charter Amendment Resolution CAR 2-25, amending Section 61, Purchasing and Contracting, and Section 62, Cooperative Bidding of the city charter to authorize the city council to set purchasing requirements and procedures by ordinance. I will turn it over to the city staff.
Thank you, Mayor. This item in regards to the charter amendment is moving some of the provisions associated with our purchasing that are expressly provided in the charter into the city code. What this will enable the city to do is in future times when we're looking at making amendments to our purchasing procedures, it'll be a little bit easier administratively and legislatively for the council to do rather than having to go through a full charter amendment to make those changes. So this is preceding the next item, which is going to be a small change to the purchasing requirements.
Thank you, Deputy City Manager. At this time, I will call this public hearing open at this time.
Mayor, we do not have anyone signed up for the public hearing this evening, and no comments were received via email.
Thank you very much. I now declare the public hearing closed. At this time, I will entertain a motion
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move for approval of Resolution CAR-2-25, amending Section 61, Purchasing and Contracting, and Section 62, Cooperative Bidding of the City Charter to authorize the City Council set purchasing requirements and procedures by ordinance.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second to adoption of Charter Amendment Resolution CAR 2-25. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please respond with an aye. Aye. Opposed, same favor. Hearing none, motion carries. We will now move to item B on old business, the adoption of ordinance 0-8-25, amending City Code, Chapter 19A, Procurement Procedures, Article 1, procurements generally, to increase the competitive bidding threshold and to prescribe additional regulation relating to city procurements, including the adoption of alternative procedures in appropriate circumstances.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the companion item to the charter amendment, which had just passed. And this item brings forward language that had been included in the charter and was just removed and brings it into the city code associated with the city's purchasing. Then there are a couple of changes to the purchasing thresholds. These have not been changed in a long time for the city of Bowie. Ultimately because it has required a charter amendment in order to make such a change where the threshold was previously presented. So that's available for your consideration this evening.
Thank you. Council, does anybody have any questions? Hearing none, I will declare the public hearing open.
Mayor, no one has signed up for this public hearing, and no comments were received for it.
Thank you, City Clerk. I will now declare the public hearing closed and will entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to propose adoption of ordinance 0-8-25, amending City Code Chapter 19A, Procurement Procedures, Article 1, procurements generally, to increase the competitive bidding threshold and prescribe additional regulations relating to city procurements, including the adoption of alternative procedures in appropriate circumstances.
Do I hear a second? Second. It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion at this time? Hearing none, I will move for eligible action. I will entertain a motion.
I already made the motion.
So we made the motion, we've had the second. I'm sorry. I am calling for the vote now, since we've had discussion and there was none. Thank you, Wanda.
It's been a long meeting already.
That's all right.
Yeah. At this time, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please respond with an aye. Aye. Opposed, same favor.
Aye.
Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, Councilwoman. Water and Sewer System Rehabilitation Program. Staff will present an update on the city's ongoing water and sewer system rehabilitation program.
Thank you, Mayor. This item was added to the agenda at the request of the council. We are considering issuing some debt, and the council was interested to know the status of and the future plans for our water and sewer system. So Dr. Ahn, Director of Public Works, has prepared a quick summary for you.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, Council, evening. Again, thank you for this opportunity to present this topic to you all. So I'm going to present an overview of our water and sewer system, what's been accomplished, and plans moving forward. So this slide is a quick overview of our current system. So our water plant currently generates about 1.6 million gallons per day, serving 8,000 accounts. In terms of population, that's about approximately 25,000 residents in the city. And we also maintain over 500 fire hydrants and roughly 2,100 manholes maintained as well. And from sewer or water treatment side, we are capable, but we are on average processing about 1.6 million gallons per day. The network size for water and sewer is it's about 90 miles. To be specific, about 470,000 linear feet for water and 482,000 linear feet for sewer. And it was set up back in 1960. So it's not that young anymore.
Understood.
Next slide shows our entire water and sewer system. Left-hand side, that's a water lines, and the right-hand side, that's a sewer line. So accomplishment. First, I'm going to present what the city has been able to rehab or addressed in the past few years, starting fiscal year 21. So starting fiscal year 21 up to fiscal year 25, we've rehabbed over 40,000 linear feet, or approximately 7.6 miles of a water main system. The total cost was a little over $10 million. And the slide shows you what's been accomplished since fiscal year 21 through 25, and the green lines indicate the sewer water main rehab plan for fiscal year 26 through 2030. In terms of numbers, the table shows breakdown of each water main rehab plan for each fiscal year. Combining, we are planning to rehab over 60,000 linear feet, or little over 12 miles of water main lines, totaling about $23 million. So after 2020-30, what's left? So we still have about 350,000 linear feet, or 65 miles of water main that needs attention, which is about 72% of the entire system. So by 2030, we will have rehab 30% of our system, but we still have 70% more to address. Using the average cost of last year's water main rehab, to address 70% of the system, or 65 miles of water main, it will cost the city about $123 million. At the bottom of the slide, it shows mechanical breakdown of how many years it take. If city invests $10 million every year, it will take about 13 years, and we will be able to rehab entire water main water system by fiscal 2043. If we invest $5 million a year, and it will take about 25 years, and we will have accomplished total rehab of water main by 2055. Now moving on to sewer system. So as I mentioned, we have about roughly 90 miles of sewer line as well, which equates to be about 480,000 linear feet. But I like to classify them into two different groups. One is a local sewer. So local sewer would be from your household to the major trunk lines. That's majority of our system. That's about 350 linear feet. And then we have a trunk or interceptor. So those would be typically our force main. So when gravity is not in our favor, we have to pump. We have to use a pumping station to bring those sewer into our wastewater plant. So that's about 130,000 linear feet of our system. So sewer side, we were a little behind. Last fiscal year was our first year starting this program, and we were able to accomplish about a little over 11,000 linear foot at 2.2 miles of sewer main rehab. Costs about $1.5 million. Same fiscal 26 through fiscal 2030, we plan to accomplish about 66,000 linear feet. In terms of miles, 12.7 miles. Planned cost is about $11.5 million. But this is only for the local sewer. It is not including those force mains. I'm going to cover how much it costs to rehab force mains in the following slide, but for local sewers, which is about 350,000 linear feet, after 2030, we will have about 60% remaining to be addressed, and it will cost the city about $60 million. The next slide shows the cost to address those force main or trunk or interceptor lines. They are more costly because, as you can imagine, it's under pressure. So there's really no manholes. So in order to address those, we have to install a bypass before even addressing those force mains. So even though it's a smaller portion of the system, the cost to rehab those force main is equally about the same of the local sewers. It's about 25 miles or 27% of our system, but cost will be roughly $50 million. I've shared a lot, so here's a summary. Water. So far, we've addressed about 7.6 miles out of a 90-mile system, and by 2030, we will have accomplished. We'll accomplish about 35% of the system, but still about 70% of the system remaining. That will cost about $123 million. Same sewer side, we've only accomplished so far 2.2 miles. By 2020-30, we'll accomplish 10.4 miles out of a 90-mile network size, and that leaves us about 80 miles to be addressed. It will cost the city about $110 million. I'd like to share a few additional information that the typical, so majority of our waters are cast iron. That's about 97% of our system. And 3 to 4% of our system, which is, those are the newer water lines, those are ductile pipes. But typical lifespan of cast iron pipes are 50 to 70 years, and we are already at the tail end of its lifespan. On top of that, typical or natural soil acidity of Maryland and Bowie is acidic. And as you know, acidic is not friendly to iron. So that also expedites the deterioration of our water main system. And one good indication is nationwide average of a water main break for every 100 miles per year is about 11.3. But last fiscal year alone, the city has addressed 20 water main breaks. So we are already at twice as much water main breaks in our system. And each water main break, not even including the disturbance to the service, but each water main break costs about $10,000 repair alone. So with that, I think this is a great opportunity for the city to start addressing and investing into infrastructure. This will, once rehab, will provide service another 100 years. So it's a lot of money, but if it's divided by number of years we'll gain from this investment, I think it's worth considering for the council. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions. Council.
Well, first and foremost, I'd like to thank you for the presentation. I think that brings us all up to speed in general on what's going on and what it's going to take for us to move forward as a city in handling our sewer and water. And so I appreciate that. And I appreciate all the work that's going into it and what you're doing to try and present how we should go about it. At this time, I will open it up to any of the council members who have a question. Council Member, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, and thank you for being here this evening to chat about this subject near and dear to my heart, not because I love it so much, but it affects so many in my district. A couple of quick questions for you. First of all, in terms of water, how are we trending on complaints? That is to say, people phoning and complaining about, water disturbances or the like.
So compared to, it's before my time, but compared to previous years' number of compliments. But we see a lot less compliments about the water or sewer. Also, since I assumed this position, we actually haven't had any issue with the discoloration, surprisingly.
Okay, very good. Good, thank you. I see that the strategy seems to be working our way north, if you will, from Heather Hills and then up into the other parts, Kenilworth, and then it looks like Somerset. Is there any expectation that there'll be a need to jump around to address any hotspots?
So we've looked at both strategies where we address those hotspots, so to speak, or we approach this as a systematic standpoint because after all, it's all interconnected. Well, each approach has pros and cons, but once we move around, it's going to cost more due to mobilization and demobilization. Also, we do not know exact locations or exact point of water main where it needs or condition its a location. So rather than spending extra money to pinpoint those hotspots, we plan in a way that we are going to address from area perspective and continue this strategy moving forward. And that saving from additional mobilization, demobilization alone provides us more opportunity to cover more linear feet per fiscal year, Councilman.
Thank you. Follow up on the issue of costs. I noted that the average costs that we've spent so far seems to be a bit better than what we are forecasting for the future. For example, I think it was about 1.2 million a mile versus I think about 1.9 million a mile going forward. Is there a driver for that, or is it just a conservative outlook?
So again, the expected cost is based on the cost data we've seen so far, and of course we are at the mercy of our contractors and other factors, external factors that we have no control over. But But so far, in the past few years, costs seem to be fairly stable, and even with the about 3 to 4% cost increase over the time, I feel confident that in about $123 million, we should be able to address water main for entire network.
Okay, thank you. And then,
Good. This is number 4.
so now switching over to the sewer side, the problems that we're seeing on the sewer, is that just leaks, or do we have any breaks or collapses anywhere?
Well, thankfully, we haven't had too many disruptions or sewer breaks, because any breaks are critical, but especially sewer main breaks can be daunting. But thankfully, we haven't had issues. But doesn't mean that our sewer main system is getting any younger. We still need to address them, Councilman.
So what have we seen so far? Have we seen any failures or any leakage or any specific problems on the sewer side?
Not so far, but that indicates it's more reason to be proactive than waiting until it starts breaking down.
And when we're doing the sewers, are we doing a cut and replace, or are we lining, or what are we doing for repairs?
It's very similar to water main rehab. It's a structural lining.
Okay.
So once we have a structural lining in place, even though there's a failure or cracks with a sewer main, since a structural lining, the integrity will be preserved.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilmember, if I may add one item in regards to the preventative maintenance, one of the challenges, it's not just the sewer line or the water line that may fail and cause a challenge, since this is water that is running underground, and they often track with our sidewalks on our roads. If we let them deteriorate too far, we'll find that we end up having circumstances where it begins undermining our other infrastructure. And so the talk about having preventative maintenance and getting ahead of this not only addresses the issue with the sewer line or the water line, but also reduces the likelihood of a failure underneath a road system, and we just add to our overall cost burden for maintaining infrastructure.
And along those lines,
If I could at this time, excuse me, if I could at this time, I think one of the questions that I have that kind of goes right into this is, and you or maybe even Mr. Matthews can help, we do have a plan that was put in place to be able to capture the cost of redoing the pipes, correct? Yes. From the charges for the cost of the water system? To be able to, because they have their own separate water system.
Yes, there is.
That we were supposed to be collecting the funds to help offset those costs to pay that, correct?
Yes, back in 2018, the city implemented a new service charge that generates about $750,000 per year.
Yes, because we've been working as a city to offset those costs and trying to find money where we can to contribute. But Mr. Matthews, if you could just a little more succinct for us so that everybody understands that.
Thank you, Mayor. H. Byron Matthews, Finance Director. I think the Assistant City Manager covered it quite well. We have attempted to have a two-prong attack to fund the operations for water and sewer. One, to have a rate in place in order to collect $750,000 a year to supplement the maintenance that we're doing, as well as issuing debt to cover the major cost. So it's a balancing act, and we're trying to make sure that we keep our costs as low as possible for our residents, but at the same time, giving the Public Works Director enough ammunition to resolve the issues that he's faced with.
All right, thank you, Mr. Matthews. I just thought it was important that people understand that this is a two-pronged approach. That we have a fund in place that we're collecting from those who have used the water system of the city, but we're also trying our best to support that as well and do that. So again, I just wanted to make sure everybody was on the same page with that and understood that we are doing that at this time. All right, thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, and
I'll
finish
come
that.
back to you, just one more. Go ahead, Wanda, and then I'll come back to you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Sure, just real quick, because when I was listening, particularly when you talk about 30 years out, it was two things. It was the funding and it's the risk. So I understand the supplemental funding that's coming from the additional fees, $750,000. Are there any federal or state funds that are being used to support this as well? Aside, I know you talked about doing a bond or a bond, I guess. Any other funding?
So, yes, each year for the past several years, the city has worked to secure funding from the federal government and the state government to help supplement this. We have had a fair bit of success in regards to getting federal funding, but a limited amount of federal funding has come in over the past few years, specifically for the drinking water rehabilitation program. We spent that money last year. We had received $2 million in. So you will note that about $10 million had been spent to date. The amount we have collected in that extra charge that the mayor was referencing was about $6 million. So we have been able to utilize other funds from other sources to supplement. We've gotten more work done than what the funds generated locally has been.
And I just have one other point of clarification. I think I heard there were 20 water main breaks this last fiscal year, and it was about $10 million for each repair, or did I get that wrong?
About $10,000 per repair,
$10,000.
Councilwoman.
That's what I mean, $10,000.
$10,000.
20 water main breaks for years, and if you take that and extrapolate it over 30 years, then it is, I mean, eventually the number will get smaller, your risk will get smaller, but it's still out there. Okay, that's what I needed. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank you,
ma'am.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman DeFore Wolfie,
Thank you.
and then we'll go to you, Councilman Braga.
Thank you. Just one quick follow-on discussion point on the streets that we're moving into, the remainder of Kenilworth and over to, I guess that's in, was it Somerset? I assume that the repaving projects have been held off in the forthcoming areas?
That's a great point. So far, we've been able to schedule paving in conjunction with the sewer and water main work. That way, we don't leave utility cuts like other cities. That's why you don't see too many utility cuts in the city of Bowie, Councilman.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Brady?
Thank you, Mayor. A couple quick questions just in general. The original system that Levitt built in water and sewer system had, you said, a 50 to 75 year life, and we're now at 65. The materials we're using to refurbish the section of the water system, what's the expected life of the new system?
So the new material will typically ensure will add about another 100 years of service life.
100 years?
Yes, sir.
So we're going to nearly, okay. I'm looking at this slide here to talk about cost after FY30, and it says that we still have 65 miles or 72% left to do. So we're, with what we've programmed going through FY30, we're only going to cover about just over 1/4 of our system, correct?
Yes, Councilman.
So we've got 3/4 left. Now,
Yes, sir.
while I can appreciate the fact that we do have a fee structure set in place that is generating $750,000, but that pales in comparison to the $5, $6, $7 million a year it's going to cost to do this. So we need to rethink how we fund this And we may need to look at other sources of income through maybe private grants. Fed's going to go away for a while, probably. And I think it may be harder, especially the next couple of years, with the state to get anything because of the dire economic consequences. But I just can't believe that there aren't potential opportunities from the private sector for grants with regards to health and related issues. So maybe we ought to start stirring that pot and see if we can't find something that may help us address this. The question was asked about hotspots. Could you define for anyone watching and to educate me, if you will, what staff means by a hotspot when it comes to the water system?
So this could be multiple cases. One might be a section with excessive corrosion or excessive buildup may have formed. That could be one hotspot because they tend to generate discoloration. Also, that tend to deteriorate the water pressure too. And another hotspot could be the section with the micro cracks. Those would have would see the reduction in water pressure as well because it's leakage. There's a leakage in the system. So those would be examples of hotspots, Councilman.
I would like to add on this a little bit. In a previous presentation to the City Council, we had done an analysis in regards to where calls associated with discolored water occurred. We were looking to find, is there a particular area or particular neighborhood where we received more calls about discolored water than other areas? And I think it's fair to say, it is largely spread throughout the system. There is not a high concentration in a particular neighborhood versus another. It is fairly well distributed throughout the system, which speaks to the Public Works plan in regards to progressing systematically through the system rather than identifying an area where there may be a challenge. I think the initiation of the project in Heather Hills was an example of where the city had anecdotally received a lot of concerns about discoloration, and so that was where the city chose to begin at the time when we were first looking at beginning this rehabilitation program.
Some of the problems are driven by the discoloration of the water, correct?
That's the main customer service related issue that our residents notice. We do, of course, have concerns about fire flow and water pressure, and Public Works monitors that with regular checks in regards to what water pressure is throughout the system.
Okay. The reason I ask that is I'm just wondering if, as a temporary fix, because we're talking probably decades to get to the end of this whole project, that maybe where hotspots are occurring, you may look at installing filters at the end of the line at each house in order to address the discoloration locally while we figure out how do we do the lines that get the water to the house. So just, it might be an outlandish idea, but I just throw it out there at this time.
Councilman Brady?
Yes.
I think it would be important to know that we went through a pilot program and did a program.
Right.
Where every house that had discoloration of water, that we would reimburse them for filters on their houses and doing that. And Public Works would go out and check the water if somebody complained or had a concern about discoloration. And if they found that would be the case, then we would pay for them, reimburse them to have a water filter. I think we went out and found some of those main connections that we refurbished now to avoid that. So we have done that program, and I think that program is still in effect. If anybody wants or needs that. Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, that is correct. The program is still available. However, we haven't received any application this year. So.
I appreciate that, Mr. Mayor, but my point being that maybe we should be more proactive. If we get a complaint, we establish that there is an issue with discoloration of the water, we install the filter at the point outside the house. But
just so you know, because we went through this discussion, I'd like to just share.
Right.
We went through the problem of then not being able are wanting to put us in a position of going into someone's house and tampering with their plumbing and all of that, that they were experts who could do that, and we would reimburse them, so that we weren't having to send city staff and others into people's private residence.
right.
And then coming away with any concerns about what happened to their plumbing.
Okay,
Okay, so that, I just want, because those were things that we went through, and I just wanted to share.
appreciate that. And then the last thing, water system is pressurized, so that that creates some challenges in dealing with maintaining the integrity of the system, whereas the sewer system is a gravity system, except where you have the pumps that collects from a neighborhood and pumps it to the thing. So for the most part, the sewer system is at ambient pressure, if you will, or thereabouts. So we should not expect more stress and strains on the sewer system because of how it's designed and how it operates, I would think.
That is correct. Hence, the cost to rehab regular or local sewer mains are much lower than the ones under pressure or force mains.
Right.
That's why I classified, I grouped them into two different, I broke them into two different groups. One's not in pressure, and the other one is under pressure.
Okay.
Councilman.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other questions? Any other council members? No? Okay, at this time, I'd just like to say thank you so very much. I was extremely informative. It was good to go back through that, and I appreciate the questions from my fellow council members, and look forward, because Councilmember Esteve just had a moment that he needs to ask a question.
I'm
Go
so
ahead,
sorry.
Councilman.
Thank you. I just wanted to say to the Public Works Department, thank you so much for your ongoing work on this. We've been doing this as long as I've been on the city council, and I know it's been a lot on staff, and it's been a lot on our budget. I do just want to communicate both thanks and a suggestion for communicating with residents when we do this work. For the most part, I've gotten really positive feedback from folks who have experienced these changes so far. In the K section, Heather Hill's appreciating how quickly and efficiently the work moves. It may be helpful, not tonight, to just talk a little bit about kind of our communication strategy to individual residents and how we want to best handle complaints when work is ongoing, especially since we're going to be doing this for a while going forward. There may be some opportunities to change how we communicate a little bit when the work is in progress. That's something we can discuss at another time. Otherwise, you have my thanks.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Any other last comment? If not, thank you so very much. And we appreciate you and your staff and everyone contributing in what you're doing and supporting Public Works, because that's one of the things that make us the best city in the state and across the nation, I believe. So thank you.
My privilege to serve, Mr. Mayor.
All right. We will now move on to new business with the city's transportation priority list. Staff from the planning department will review the current transportation policy priority list for state and county facilities serving Bowie. Turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, and good evening to the council. For the record, my name is Richard Hall, and I am Director of Planning and Sustainability. And as with last year, and typically we would turn this over to staff, Ridwan Coker. He had a vacation plan. This presentation was really originally going to be given at your August meeting, but your agenda got a little full. And so I believe Ridwan's, hope I'm not revealing a secret, his birthday is, I think, tomorrow. So you getting me tonight instead of Ridwan. So I hope you're okay with that. So thank you. I believe this is something you all are accustomed to, and this is a drill, so to speak, we go through every year. And to take some of the suspense out of things, for the most part, our draft recommendations this year are similar to last year. Not a whole lot has changed. And there's not much money, as no news to you all. So that has kind of kept things in I don't know if I'd say steady state, but it's led to not being a lot of changes that we're at least recommending. And I believe you know this, but just to articulate it, what's before you, this is a summary, obviously, of a memo that is in your package. And that memo, upon your endorsement or changes to it, will then be used for a letter that we will draft on your behalf for both the state and the county. So just a little quick review. I think you all are familiar with these, but these are the key steps in the process for transportation improvements, project planning, design and engineering, right-of-way acquisition, and construction. At times, some of these steps can occur concurrently. Obviously, the goal is for a project that you're in favor of is to get down the list. And sometimes, as you have seen, projects can get stuck in a category for a very long time, especially in project planning. That's not the only place where a project can be stuck in limbo for quite some time, but project planning, out of all these, tends to be the one that I have seen in my career where a project has been there for quite some time. So those are the steps. So once you're in the CTP, those are the steps that you have there. This is a summary slide. So these are the highest priorities. This is largely driven from our understanding of what the priorities are and what the priorities were last year. So these are the top priorities. Again, this is a summary slide. So Maryland 197, and that is, by the way, number 5 on the county's priority list, and it's 30 to 50% engineered. So that is moving along to a degree. The second project on there, I assume you all are relatively familiar with these, and I'll get more detail about them in just a moment. Maryland 450, that is number 11 on the county's list. It's 95% engineered, but it is on hold. So those are 2 state projects. And then Church Road, a county project, it's on all funding. It's essentially on hold, but the funding is looking in some of the out years in the county CIP. So that's Church Road, and I'll get in more detail about that one in just a minute as well. So 2 state projects on this top priority list, and 1 county project. So now this slide is focused just on the state projects. And again, this is a summary. I'll start with letting you know, for your information, that the tour, the state MDOT tour for the county is scheduled for the 4th of November at 2 o'clock at the Curry Administration Building there in Largo. There's also a streaming option, so I just want to put that out there for your information. The draft recommendations is to upgrade 197 from US 50 to Maryland 450, and to move it to acquisition, right-of-way acquisition. And it's, like I said, currently 30 to 50% engineered, that project. The other point on here is the Maryland 450 project, and I mentioned in that priority list just previously. So that's the plan there is Maryland 450 from Stony Brook Drive to Racetrack Road to multimodal design improvements consistent with the county's aim for maintaining the Main Street. And the ask there is to advance it from design to fund construction. As I mentioned before, that is currently on hold. The last item on here is a project that is completed. It's there at the intersection of Excalibur Road and 301. across from where Mill Branch Road hits 301 on the east side of 301. And that's completed, and that was a relatively simple project, is repaving, restripping, and shaving some of the pavement there. So those are the state transportation projects. Moving now to the county transportation projects. The first one, and I know this has been a conversation for a very long time. So the WB&A Trail Bridge over the Patuxent River is complete. I know it's been talked about for a very, very, very long time. And I still don't have anything official, but I've been hearing for quite some time that there's a ribbon cutting scheduled for the 16th of September at 10:30. And it's my understanding it's going to be on the Anne Arundel County side of the river. There's more room there. Like I said, I have nothing official. This has been talked about for a very long time, but it is open. People are riding across the bridge, and it's finally open, and that's a good thing to make that connection between us here on the Prince George's County side of the river and Anne Arundel. Anne Arundel was really the primary driver of this project, but it was a joint project. Next construction project I'll mention is replacement on the Chestnut Avenue Bridge, and that is estimated completion in fiscal '27. Next, going down from construction projects to design, engineering right away, we have the Governor's Bridge Road, and that is on hold. It's to be design was back in 2021, but the project's currently on hold. The Heritage Trail, the Bowie Heritage Trail, it's on Bowie State and Maryland DNR property. That is construction to be determined. It's not really an MDOT project like most of the ones we're talking about that have the state involved. That involves Department of Natural Resources. Next, the Cowling Branch Stream Valley Park Hiker-Biker Trail on Hall Road. Design is underway, and it is on hold. However, completion the completion is was scheduled for this year, but it's currently on hold. The Church Road improvements are on hold, and US 301 improvements south of 214 are on hold. However, the county evidently has some funding available, and they're looking at putting a third lane from 214 down to 4. But currently it's on hold, but there is word of funding being available, so we're hopeful that there can be some progress there in the future. Recommendations for county transportation projects is to add Church Road. The previous items were status, these are recommendations. To add Church Road from Maryland 214 to Maryland 450, move it from construction design, and to add a cycling path, and to have it for design engineering. There was some other background there that I don't need to get into. The county offering land and such. I know you all talked about that previously. The next item there, number 2, is continue funding for the racetrack road project between Idlewild Drive and Clearview Drive, and to move it to construction. Design is to be done at the end of this year, and construction is currently scheduled for 2028. And the last one on this page is Old Stage Road, make it a construction project. It is outlined in the draft county transportation master plan, but currently it's a recommendation. We don't have information on there being funding for it. Recommendation for county transportation projects continued. These are trail projects, trail and sidewalk projects. And so I'll go down these briefly, unless you want to get into them in more detail, of course. But to add a new pedestrian bridge over 214 per the countywide trails plan, and to move it to design and engineering. Number 2, per the local community strategy for Old Town Bowie, the request is to add a CIP project to evaluate sidewalk retrofit construction on Old Laurel Bowie Road, Chestnut Avenue, and Dunkertown Road, and we're asking to be added to design, engineering, planning category. Third item, per the county citywide trails plan, request park and planning funding for a trail link between Dawson Way and Woodmore Estates and Dunwood Crossing Drive in the Woodmore Highlands subdivision, and to use a former right-of-way, and we're asking it to be added to for design and engineering. And there is a feasibility study underway. Last one on this page here is according to the Bowie and Mitchellville Vicinity Master Plan, request park and planning funding for a trail link to the Bowie Heritage Trail, formerly known as the Old Town Bowie Trail System, and go for construction of a pedestrian underpass under 197 to connect the Normal School Road to the MARC train station at Bowie State University, and to add it for design and engineering. And Public Works is also has an active project to connect Falling Waters Court to Jericho Park. And then the hope is this will be linked up with park and planning to Lemons Bridge Road. A couple points on city transit priorities is to work with the county on downtown circulator route and serving the Bowie Town Center, including Covington and Melford. This is underway. It's sometimes referred to as microtransit. It's not a capital type project, and it has a little bit of a somewhat similar to almost like an Uber. So there's a pilot project at a smaller scale going on currently, and it's being looked at. Typically, we're coordinating with the county of WMATA on bus routes. That's like a perennial type activity, but something I mentioned is working on a better bus network design, which is a new effort to update the bus system. And one of the things we're trying to do is to connect, work with them to connect and articulate stops for South Lake. And then there's also something that's not listed on here, is the Prince George's County Link, and it's a service that the county intends to launch this fall. So that's my summary of the items in the memo that we used for the letter, and I will turn it back over to council.
Okay. Hey, thank you so very much for that. That was quite a bit of information, and I appreciate you taking the time and breaking it down. I do have one quick question, and that is on that item number 4, where you said Maryland National Trail Sidewalks Project, where you say they have, in Maryland National Capital Park and Planning, have allowed to match funding to the city of Bowie for this project. Do we have an idea of what that cost would be? And is there a cap on that? And if you don't have that right now, that's okay. Just if you could send that to me, I'd appreciate it.
Sure, we'll do that with the park and planning, the anticipated funding. Yes,
Yeah.
I'll get that to you.
Okay. And I will turn it over to Councilman Dufour Wolford.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks to staff on putting this together. Very much appreciated. You're right, it is quite similar to ages past where unfortunately there's just not much money out there. But there is one item that I would like to comment on that's actually not in there, but I'd like to have added. And this comes up as a result of discussion the council had a little while ago on the Mountain Fire and Miracles Ministries church that's over on Church Road They are expanding their facilities there. And one of the things that I pointed out then was that the amount of traffic on those series of S turns going through that old neighborhood, through the old road, Old Church Road on the northern end, it really needs to be replaced. And actually, there is a right-of-way there that it's a half a mile. It's like 0.4 miles. Right now, the new improved Church Road dead ends and makes a hard right turn. And then if you come in Church Road, if you come down from 450, the new 450 by Lidl, that dead ends. And so where that dead ends to where that hard right turn is 0.43 miles, I think. It's about 2,500 feet. And that's all that's missing in that link from the new to the two new sections that really the county needs to complete. And I suspect that it has occurred, that it hasn't occurred because there have been no development in that area, because that property won't be developed. We can't expect anybody else to come in and do it because a lot of that area is actually underneath the power lines, and there's other protected area in there. So I think the county is the only entity that's going to make that improvement. And if we could get that, that would at least be a help to get people off of that old Church Road and lighten the load even on old 450 and where people are making those turns. It's really a slog to get to where you want to go, all for want of half a mile of new road. So if we could get that added in for the county, that is a county road. And I'd mentioned this to our county representative, and she was like, oh, good point. But I'd like to see that reinforced with our letter so that it gets on their priority list and we can highlight that need.
And Councilman, I believe this has been an issue for quite some time. Is that correct? I've seen it on a map and discussed, but okay.
Yeah, it's been there, and I think the assumption has been that the next developer will complete that part, but there's no next developer to look to. There's all that land in there has been developed, and I think that leaves the county holding the bag for making that improvement.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Councilman. Does anyone else have any questions?
Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for the presentation, very comprehensive and informative. As I was going through it and listening through it, I don't see the US 301. So can I get clarity on why US 301 is not on this list?
The US 301 projects, Councilwoman, have been put on hold. And I know this 301 issue has been talked about for years. I know you all talked about it a good bit last year as well, during the same time, almost exactly a year ago. I believe that some movement is occurring on 301 on the other side of the Patuxent in Anne Arundel County, or it's three up there. And perhaps, and this is speculation, but that the state might want to be focusing there and then work their way south. I don't know that, but what I can tell you is that the 301 projects are not in the CTP.
Okay, I don't know if this needs to be directed at my colleagues or if this is for staff. I'm not really sure, but I do believe that US 301 needs to be included on our list. I think the minute that we take it off, we signal to the state and the county that it is not a priority anymore, and it is something that we're not going to continue advocating for. And I know on behalf of District 4, it is at the top of our list, and it is at the top of the list of the things that the constituents reach out about. So I do believe that we need to consistently emphasize US 301, especially since we had Maryland State Highway come out and have a presentation with us and have a conversation with us. They did say they were going to go back and follow up on what our direct ask needed to be on US 301, and I haven't heard any follow-up on that. So I do believe that needs to be still included on our priority list. And then I do think we need to follow up with Maryland State Highway to figure out what's going on with 301 and what is the next step beyond there's no funding. So, Mr. Mayor, if you can let me know who that needs to be directed to, I definitely think 301 needs to be on our priority list.
Okay, where would you recommend that be directed?
Well, from me, this is a draft, and certainly at your direction, will certainly put it in here. One thing I would like to hear from council, if I may, is there a specific segment of 301 or all of 301 in the city? So a little specifics on that. So if as I'm finalizing the letter on your behalf, I can get it right. So.
Okay.
I can say, Mr. Mayor, I have one more thing to point out before you move on. Am I good?
Councilwoman, I didn't hear what you said.
I said I have one more topic before we move on to the next person.
Okay, you don't want to ask a question on this. We just want to add something.
I wanted to add to what the councilwoman just said in regard to Route 301. If you come down by Beech Tree, that section of 301, looks like they're putting a middle lane in there. The construction is underway. If that happens, then as far as I'm concerned, when we get down to Bowie, particularly down to Pointer Ridge Drive, the congestion will become worse. And it may be an opportunity for more accidents because the highway is getting bigger. Something is going on up there in that they're widening it around that Beech Tree area, and that's south of Central Avenue. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, in regards to my section of what parts of US 301 I can follow up in writing, I would need to go back at our previous letters and figure out what exactly was included there. So I know it's the points for me, it's the parts that touch District 4 and a little bit of District 3. So I don't have the intersections offhand, but those would be the areas of concern and where the congestion meets from Pointer Ridge Plaza all the way on down to the Walmart area next to the new Mill Branch crossing. So I would definitely say that whole section right there is pretty much the one that's been top of mind for District 4. And then I'll leave it to the rest of the colleagues about the other intersections that are important to them. But I can follow up with staff in writing in terms of the exact specifics of what we've said in the past.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Bigfour.
Thank you, and I'll chime in and add to your commentary as well. Councilwoman Deborah Madu has mentioned 301, but it also continues north onto 3. That area is, it's getting crowded, and there's been transactions on property in the median there, which means somebody's going to be developing that pretty soon, and it's bad all the way up. So we need to keep that. And I know we've discussed that before, and I know that, the availability of funds and where it lists, it's not good. But nonetheless, I think to Councilman's point, we still need to keep that as a priority for ourselves. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Truesdale, then we'll go to Councilman C.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I would like to concur with my colleagues as well. In regards to 301 District 3, as you come up beyond past Pointer Ridge, District 4, but also Mill Branch and the intersection of 197 District 3 further up, 301 rather. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. I'll work with our planning director, and we'll add significant points in the priority letter regarding 301. We know what they are. It's about congestion, the synchronization of traffic signals all throughout Bowie. And I'll work with him to add that, so just so everybody knows before we send that letter. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, council member. Council members, no. Anybody else?
I do, but
Councilman,
It's good for all of you.
who's that?
Roxy still wants it.
Mr. Mayor, I wasn't done, so if you can come back to me, that would be great.
She wasn't done, she says.
She wants what?
She wasn't finished.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Please go right ahead, Councilwoman.
That's okay, Mr. Mayor. There's just one more intersection that I wanted to highlight. It's 197 Mitchellville Road. There have been some cones right in front of, I don't know if that's an office building with a bunch of doctor's offices. I know the county was meant to be fixing something there. There's some fencing that's broken. I don't necessarily know what's going on there. I've inquired about it before, but if we can just possibly, I don't know if this is the right place. I'm happy to follow up via email, but it's 197 and Mitchellville Road. There are a bunch of orange cones there that if we could just follow up on, that'd be great. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Did you get that?
Well, we got that, Mayor. Mayor, we were aware of that, and we're working with State Highway Administration on that particular situation. It's a damaged rail along the public right-of-way. We were going to repair it about 5 years ago, and when we talked with State Highway Administration, they told us not to, that it's their property and they control that right-of-way, but then they failed to take any action. And that was one of the issues we talked to them about the last time that we're here, and that we continue to press them on when we write them and communicate with them. And we'll also pass that on to our delegates to help see if we can get some pressure from the top.
Okay. Thank you, City Manager. Thank you. Councilman Brady, would you?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. A couple of items. When I sat down at one of the round tables at MML with the State Highways Administrator, he did some pushback, which I thought went a little far. But I raised the issue about how the state has approached what appears how the state approaches doing major projects. And I used as an example the fact that since I moved to Bowie in '87, when I go down to North Carolina to visit my parents before they passed, Waldorf was bad, La Plata was bad, the interchange of 301 and 5 north of Waldorf was bad. At the time, Crofton was bad, and it seemed like whenever there was bad traffic, State Highways stepped in and improved things. They've spent a lot of money to improve things outside of Prince George's County. And I tied that to what's going on, what I see when I go up to Bel Air or to Elkton, where Kathy grew up, where they've been pushing the Interstate 95 up. It's now going past Bel Air up. And they're doing all kinds of improvements. And when I raised that, he pushed back and he goes, well, with regards to 95, he said, that's all paid for by the toll structure. And he said, if you want to convert 301 into tolls, we can probably talk about it. So that was an interesting pushback I got. And it got me to thinking that maybe we ought to talk to the political, our legislatures in county and what have you. And if that can get the damn thing built, maybe we ought to consider it. I'm not saying we ought to, I'm just suggesting that as an item. He also threw out very large numbers for the cost of just adding a lane, because I suggested going from Upper Marlboro up to 50. And he threw out a very large number. And I know RS Means is a contracting software that does construction work and what have you. And I wonder if we can, in order to counter some of the arguments, some of the numbers that are pushed out, if we could just do a back of the envelope estimate of what it would cost to add one lane to 301 for the miles that we're talking about, just to have a number so we can sit there and talk about it, because his number I thought was excessively large, and I think he was using it to try and intimidate me. So if we can come up with an actual estimate, that would be helpful. His other argument, pushback, was because I was complaining about 197 between between 450 and Kent Hill Drive. And he said, you know, it needs to be on the county's list of priorities because they don't listen to us. We send it in, but it's got to be on the county's list. And since then, I got to thinking, we are in population, Bowie is larger than 8 of the state's 24 counties. And I think we need to start making the argument that we should be considered separate from Prince George's County instead of having to work our way up the county list in order to get onto the state list. So I think maybe that's an item that we ought to have as a discussion with our state legislators when we have our dinner here soon. The Mayor Pro Tem must have been reading from my notes because one of the points I was going to bring up was Church Road. And I can tell you with discussions with both of our at-large representatives and our District 4 representatives, they are very supportive of completion of that 1/2 mile leg. And I know Councilwoman Watson's been pushing that very hard. The problem they have right now is budget constraints. But you're absolutely right, it's not that much and it won't get done by a developer. But it needs to be done to address what I think is a lower safety issue, the S-curve that you're talking about. Because the bigger concern that I have on Church Road is there by our Church Road Park, a series of 2 or 3 S-curves, where there was a fatality about 20 years ago because a young man lost control of the van he was driving. And we need to get that section done. And I'm assuming the reference to, the city agreed a couple years ago to donate land in order to get it. I'm assuming that's that area nearby Belt Woods. But that needs to get done. And in our letter to the county, we ought to push for improvements to Church Road from Central Avenue to 450. Keep that in, but then add a paragraph saying, until such time that the county can do the full length of this as an improvement, these 2 sections need to be addressed because of safety hazards. So I'd like to suggest we add a paragraph after the discussion that's currently in what's proposed with regard to Church Road to highlight the safety aspect and try and get them at least to address those sections as we can. And I'll tell you, state highways, they do a great job, but at the same time, not that they stonewall, but they're constantly doing studies, they do engineering, they come up with a package and they wait funding, and then time elapsed, and then they got to go back and start the process over again. Because we had, in the mid to late 80s, we actually had a program to reconstruct 197 between Kent Hill and 450, and it went away because of some protests in the city. Then Glenn Denning, the county exec, said, well, if Bowie doesn't want it, we'll put it somewhere else, and they moved it, actually physically reallocated the funds for the improvement of that section. When I left the council in 15, they had an approved plan and an expectation that they'd start reconstruction of 197 in FY19, 6 years ago, and they're now back at 30%, 40%. So I think we need to figure out a way to hold the fire under their feet in order to get things done, because one of the first things I did when I got in the council 30 years ago was I was on the task force that developed the plans for 3 from 50 up through Crofton, 32. 30 years ago. And they haven't implemented any of that. Okay. So I would strongly encourage that we maybe look to use a little more forceful language where appropriate in this to try and move some of these things along. Not incendiary, not inflammatory, nothing to garner any kind of antagonistic response, but a little more, like I said, with the Church Road. We need to get them to address those 2 sections that are a safety issue. We'd love to have the whole road, but these are a minimum that we need. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other comments at this time? No other comment? Hey, thank you so very much. We appreciate all that you've done. We appreciate the presentation, the insights. We thank your staff and everybody who helped you to put this together. And we thank all of the staff for us coming back on the 2nd. We appreciate all that you do. And on that note, thank you again.
Thank you.
All right. I will now open the floor for a motion.
Mr. Mayor. Let me get to my language, sir. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn to closed session. There we go. For the public to hear. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn to closed session under statutory authority of the Maryland Annotated Code, General Provisions, Article Section 3-305B10, to discuss public security if the public body determines that public discussions would constitute a risk to the public or to public security, including I, the deployment of fire and police services, and II, the development and implementation of emergency plans.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please respond with an aye. Aye. Opposed, same favor. Hearing none, motion carried. The meeting is adjourned to closed session.